Hello there and welcome to another rainy day drawing. Now this week, something a little bit different. We're back to a building again, but this one is a ruined building. Now this is from a photograph that I took when on holiday in Tasmania some years ago at Port Arthur. Now during the course of this video, I'm going to give you some prompts on how to do the drawing, and then at different points I'm going to tell you to pause the video and complete the drawing for yourself. So basically I'm demonstrating and showing you how it works, and then you get to stop and just complete the drawing in your own time. I know that sometimes it's not real easy to see the fainter marks, particularly early in the drawing. So whenever it's hard to see, in the corner at the pause points, I will put up a small picture inside the main picture, which will show you some darker lines to show you where you need to draw your lines. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you get something out of it. And if you're learning anything or if you're enjoying these, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Anyway, let's get straight to it. Thank you very much. I've selected an image of a ruin for this drawing. As always, I've simplified the drawing to focus on the elements that are most important, and you will have a chance to see the journey from start to finish. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to draw all the shape types discussed so far, and you'll be ready to tackle the final shape-oriented drawing of this module. Draw a horizontal line roughly 1/4 of the way from the bottom edge. Follow this with another one roughly 2/3 of the way up the page. These don't have to be perfect, but you will use these to find the edges of your ruin in the drawing. Fill in the sides with vertical lines. On the left side, draw the vertical halfway into the blank space between the top line and the top of the page. Starting at the top left corner where the top of your left vertical line is, draw in a zigzag to indicate a jagged edge of the brickwork. The jagged line will give the impression of a sharp edge, and by drawing it in a diagonal direction, it will create the sense of instability in the ruined wall. From the top, draw a line across the page but slightly angled down. Draw 3 high points on this wall and let the spaces between dip down where the bricks have fallen. Return to the main section of wall and continue drawing along to the right side vertical. Notice that the wall dips down and rises up again in places. Keep using diagonal lines to add the sense of instability in the wall. The far right edge rises again and forms the second highest part of the wall. Erase the construction lines from the top of the page. Just under the first round-shaped dip on the wall, draw in a rectangular shape. This forms the space where a window once would have been. Try and get the lines parallel to the shape of the ruin. There are 6 of these windows. They don't have to be perfect, but they will need to be roughly in line. Some of them will be covered partly later in the drawing, but take care to get them roughly level and the same distance apart. You can draw a faint construction line along the bottom and top edges if you want to. Just use the technique of starting where you want to start and then looking where you want to finish, and draw to where you are looking. Use the remaining part of the right hand vertical and draw in the corner of the 6th window on the right. Starting at the left side, draw in the shape of some bushes. These will be roughly circles, and you can draw them in using organic circular lines. There are 2 main shapes on the left side that are actually made up of a number of bushes. Drawing in some variation in the heights and shapes will complement the shape of the ruin. Add a couple of straight lines underneath for trunks on the bushes on the right. Draw in the bush shape on the right using the same technique. These bushes are roughly in the shape of an L lying on its back. Bushes and plants can often create implied shapes, just like clouds. Draw in some trunks and then erase all the lines from inside the bush shapes. This will help them to stand out more as positive shapes. With the basic shapes all drawn in, now take the 2B pencil and begin going over the lines in the ruin. Make these darker, but remember not to press too hard in case you need to erase them again. Add a roughly straight line near the top edge of the end wall. This indicates an area where shadow is cast on the brick, or the brick could be discoloured. Repeat the process along the top of the 3 peaks in the wall. Using a very loose hatching technique, add in some more lines along the interior, leaving a space for a window in the middle. Continue drawing the top of the wall. You will notice there are some dark shapes where the end of the bricks are visible. These shapes create the appearance of 3-dimensional shapes called forms. More on these later in the course. Add additional lines to balance the dark areas and make them consistent. On the very left edge of the ruin, there is a section of larger stones forming in the corner. Draw these in using rectangles. They don't need to be exact, just enjoy drawing the shapes. Return to the windows and draw in some dark areas using the loose hatching technique. These areas represent either shadows on the windows or sections of supports inside the building that are holding up the remaining walls. You will notice the angles on the braces and windows changing as they go along. This is an example of perspective, and there will be much more detailed lessons on this in Module 5. For now, just focus on drawing what you can see. This skill will take you far, and it is improving each time you practice. Returning to the upper part of the ruin, draw a dark edge to the remaining horizontal construction line. This is the top part of a brace holding the walls together. Just above the 3rd window, draw in a chimney in the distance using rectangles and squares. Then use the loose hatching to add some dark areas of shadow and add in some additional braces. All of these lines and shapes should be less sharp than the wall in front of them. Use some lines to create the impression of brickwork in the side of the ruin. In the demonstration, I'm using slightly curving lines, and this will give a more natural feeling as though the wall is made of stones. If you prefer, you can use straight lines, and this will give the impression of geometric shapes like bricks. If you want to try this, just make the lines all either vertical or horizontal. Fill the wall space with the lines dispersed at random. This process is using lines to create the implied shapes of bricks or stones in your drawing. Using mainly diagonal lines, draw in some grass along the bottom of the wall between the bushes. Use short lines for this. Then move to the left side bushes and begin adding diagonal lines to create the shapes of shadows. Use a variety of longer and shorter lines for this and press a bit harder to make some of these the darkest lines on the page, in particular at the base of the bushes where the trunks emerge. Using the diagonal lines in this way will create the impression of nature bursting out of the ground in the shape of the bushes. This will provide a strong contrast to the crumbling ruin and may help imply a story of nature reclaiming the earth after the efforts of humans have crumbled. Repeat the process with the bushes on the right side of the drawing. Make the lines slightly darker on the right side and add some additional outlines to the bushes to make them slightly clearer. This will bring them closer and help create depth in the drawing. Under the bushes, draw some rough horizontal lines to indicate shadows. This will help ground them and will complete the drawing. When you are happy, sign your name and your drawing is done. Congratulations again. You deserve a pat on the back because you've completed the 3 shape studies and are now ready to draw the final shape drawing of the module. In this lesson, you've used geometric and organic lines to create shapes. You've created multiple layers of positive shapes in the ruined walls and bushes. You've created multiple layers of negative shapes in the windows, shadows, and spaces around objects. You've created implied shapes in the bushes and the bricks or stones in the walls of the ruin. And finally, you've developed your drawing skills to the point where you are now creating drawings with depth and character. Okay, how did you go? Did you enjoy that one? I hope it was a winner for you. If there's anything you have any questions about or any other comments, let me know below. Thanks very much for watching. I always appreciate seeing you here. Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye now.